Last June, I ventured out to Maryland for a toy show, and it turned out to be one of the best collector experiences of the year. The Maryland Toy Expo is run by Mark Ryan and Christian Kuhn. I've known Mark for almost as long as I've been a part of the collecting community. And I met Christian in 2021 at the Toys for the Ages Expo in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. The two are longtime friends who are passionate about collectibles and are very knowledgeable about various toy lines from previous eras. And their partnership allowed them to funnel that passion into creating a toy show that would feel both exciting and rewarding for attendees. Mark had invited me to come out to the show over the past few years. And while I was very interested in attending and exploring something new, I was never able to make it work within my schedule. But I was determined to experience what they had built in the Maryland Toy Expo. So last year, I was able to block off Friday and Saturday and to travel to Timonium, Maryland. It was a last-minute decision that week, and I remember scrambling to find a hotel that still had available rooms. But I'm so thankful I made the trip. The Maryland Toy Expo is a single-day show held on the Maryland State Fairgrounds in Timonium. The fairgrounds is the perfect place for the toy show, as its nearly 300 vendor booths are split between two adjacent buildings, connected by a parking lot. I knew Mark and Christian would fill each building with solid vendors, but I was still surprised by the results. I was fortunate to be able to tour the show during setup that Friday, and spent all of Saturday traveling between the exhibition hall and the 4-H building, spending hours going through the wares in every booth, while talking to the vendors and catching up with longtime friends and collectors. And I even made some new friends in the process. I was astounded by the amount of collectibles on each table. And no matter how many times I visited a building, I always came across items I had missed previously. There was a joy to the hunt, and a satisfaction in taking the time to look through every bin. When I think back to that day, that feeling of joy remains with me. I remember hanging out at friends' tables and laughing with them. I remember the thrill of uncovering something special at the bottom of a box, or simply seeing rows of carded Star Wars figures and combing through all of them. It just felt like the perfect day, and I enjoyed myself so thoroughly that I became a Maryland Toy Expo fan for life. In November, I returned to Timonium for the fall show. And once again, it was worth the trip. The show runs smoothly, and every aspect of it seems carefully planned out, always with the attendees in mind. And there's something thrilling about being able to explore two buildings filled with quality toys and memorabilia. And now, 7 months later, I was looking forward to my third trip to Maryland. I would be touring setup on Friday, June 13th, and would be at the show on Saturday, June 14th. But this experience would be slightly different for me as well. My friend Ryan, a longtime Star Wars collector who goes by Humble Hoarder on eBay, had planned to set up as a vendor for the first time in Maryland. He would be arriving early on Saturday morning to set up before doors opened to the early bird guests. But he was bringing fewer items with him to this show for travel purposes, so he had a little extra space at his booth and asked if I wanted to bring anything for sale and to set up with him. As I've mentioned on the podcast recently, I've been buying less, focusing on building up my war chest to be able to purchase items I'd like to add to my collection in the future. I've also been reassessing my collection and am parting with figures and pieces that no longer fit my various areas of focus. It's been a really healthy aspect of curating a collection, and I've enjoyed figuring out what I want the next era of collecting to look like. At the same time, it's been difficult to let go of figures and various items that have been in my collection for a decade or longer. But in doing so, in looking at what I own from a new perspective, this filtering showed me which ones meant the most to me, and gave me a stronger direction as to how to shape my collection for the coming years. So I was happy to set up with Ryan and to bring some items that I could pass on to other passionate collectors in the process. In the weeks leading up to the show, Ryan and I discussed what we were going to bring. We both wanted to make the experience really special for other Star Wars fans, so we tried to carry a mix of everything. Loose and carded figures, box ships and playsets, coins, accessories, a few prototypes, and some really rare Star Wars pieces that never turn up at a toy show. We wanted to help make the show memorable for other Star Wars collectors traveling to Timonium. And honestly, the two of us had such a great time hanging out together at the Spring ToyCon NJ show in April that we really wanted an excuse to spend a day talking life and Star Wars at another toy show. This is a kickoff to the summer run of toy shows in search of Star Wars memorabilia. This is an opportunity to reconnect with friends and members from regional Star Wars clubs over the course of a weekend. This is a return to the Maryland Toy Expo for one of the best single-day toy shows in the country. And this is Star Wars, Prototypes and Production.
From Coruscant to Tatooine, and every planet in between, Star Wars, Prototypes and Production, with your host, David Quinn.
Vader.
It's a trap!
Yes, Master.
Right.
Whoa, we're gonna have company!
Have to stand and fight.
The more you tighten your grip, Tom, the more star systems will slip through your fingers.
I want to learn the ways of the Force and become a Jedi like my father.
The Force will be with you, always.
Okay, welcome to Friday afternoon. I just arrived in Timonium at the Maryland State Fair, the fairgrounds. It's a great spot. They're actually doing work on what looks like the stadium next door. So right now I am in the parking lot between the 4-H building and the exhibition hall. I'm so excited to be back here. I came here a year ago, and I really I loved the entirety of the show. The people, the vendors were really pleasant, really wonderful. The buildings are great. I believe there's about 300 vendor tables or booths that will be set up, and I know a number of the people that are setting up, which is great. I can't wait to see them again. And all I can hope for is that it's a similar experience to last June, because last June really was one of the tops. So I'm going to go in and check out the exhibition hall, and then I'm going to head over to the 4-H building. Okay, the weather's great today. My thermometer said it was about 85 degrees, but it really doesn't feel like that. It's a little windy. It's overcast, which is nice. We were supposed to get thunderstorms, and I think they're going to come in tomorrow. But I think they've been pushed back even to tomorrow night, which is good. We might get a little rain, but it's cooled down everything, which is good. If you've ever been a vendor, or if you've helped people, friends bring items into a venue after one or two trips, it gets sweaty and tiresome. So walking through again, so they have a banner which has a Ghostbusters looking robot and a Yoda like robot. It says Maryland Toy Expo, toys, pop culture, comics, and more. I love this building. I'm hoping to run into some friends pretty quickly here. All right, so I knew it wouldn't take too long before I ran into my buddy Mark Ryan, who runs the show with Christian Kuhn, and you guys do a fantastic job. I didn't realize setup was early. What time did setup start for you?
So we generally were doing from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m., but after doing it for a few years, we realized that eating at 8 or 9 o'clock at night and then going to lay down and get up in the morning, it was not good on our stomachs.
Right.
And so we decided to... And we were letting everybody in at noon anyway, so we just moved it from noon to 6, just to shift the hours a little bit.
That makes sense.
Really, yeah.
So besides that, have there been any changes this year that you've implemented for the show?
For the show, no, nothing really changed that I can think of. We have a wrestler this year, Matt Riddle. We actually have 3 wrestlers at the show this year that people are coming. But we are doing a day 2, which is a card show. We're doing a trading card expo. So on Sunday, we're actually, the toy show ends on Saturday. We're going to flip the building around over at the 4-H, and then Sunday will be a card show.
For both buildings?
No, we're just going to do one this time,
okay.
yeah. But I do, the funny thing is I have 200 people on the wait list for my card show, which is almost double what my wait list is for the toy show. So
That's
I couldn't believe
incredible.
it, yeah. I mean, it's great. I got people calling from Georgia, Maine, New Hampshire for the card show. I mean, it's ridiculous. So that was something we're venturing into, because next year, there's going to be some really cool changes to the show. So we're waiting for that for next year. We'll announce it in November.
One of the things I really like, from speaking with you and Christian and learning about the show, is that over the years you've changed it, but you've changed it incrementally.
Yeah.
So as you've built up a fan base and an attendance base, you've started to add. You have 2 buildings now, at larger space, and more vendors. So far, it's looking fantastic. Have you picked up anything for yourself so far?
Of course. There's a stack right here in front of you.
Okay, so what am I looking at?
So I got a Gabriel Lone Ranger mask and gun and belt set. So that's a nice box. I got a Miss Piggy. Who doesn't love Miss Piggy?
So that's a Muppet Treasure Island Miss Piggy. It's a 12-inch doll.
Yep. I got to find
The Legend of the Lone Ranger set is incredible. I have to take a picture of this. My father grew up on the Lone Ranger.
Yeah, I love Lone Ranger. So the uncracked mask.
Yeah, so it's basically a cardboard box front, and it has a picture of the Lone Ranger, and then it actually has the plastic mask over his eyes, his belt, and his holsters and guns.
And you can see the gray on the belt where the buckle is nice and clean.
Yes.
Like I said, no cracks in the mask. It's awesome.
No, that's fantastic.
I got this little vintage Mickey Mouse phone.
Oh, so it looks like a metal phone with a rotary dialer, and it has Mickey Mouse's face on it.
And it slowly goes back and forth, as you can see. So, and then I picked up. This is a prototype.
No way.
It's a prototype Oscar the Grouch. There's no markings on it.
And
I got this from our.
Grouchland?
Yes. So this, if you can tell, like the version they came out with ended up being plastic, but that's cardboard in there. They were testing it out.
Okay.
But yeah, this is a prototype.
And what year is it from?
I think this was an 80s produced thing. I'm trying to remember, because I got it from Mike. Mike Voigt, yeah. So.
Mike Voigt always has great
stuff. He's actually contacting the guy who works for Mattel that he got it from, so they can send me the information, because I'm going to get it cased up and graded.
Oh, that'd be really nice.
Just because I want to protect the cotton and fur on it.
And if you can get like a letter of authenticity that you can put with it, I think that would be really smart.
And then I picked up, this is a Huckleberry Hound. So it's a vintage Knickerbocker. It looks nothing like Huckleberry Hound, and he's green. These are ugly dolls, but they're fun.
What year is it from?
This is 70.
No, it's right here.
Oh, is it?
1959.
Yeah.
Wow.
I forget.
Okay.
Yeah, they made these because they did the big versions. I don't know if you've ever seen the 3-foot tall ones.
No.
They did have like a Yogi, Huckleberry Hound.
But you're right. This looks nothing like it.
Nothing.
It looks almost like a one-piece green plush with little fuzzy arms and legs, like almost like what you'd wrap a baby in, like a onesie.
Yeah, onesie. Yes.
And then, that's really interesting.
And it looks nothing like them. So I don't think so.
Would you say that that's one of the earliest Huckleberry Hound examples?
I mean, I think, because, I'm trying to think, Huckleberry Hound, I think, was early 50s when he first started appearing in cartoons. I don't think it was the 40s.
Okay.
So this is probably, like, within the first, 5 years, 6 years.
Very nice.
It's fun.
It's in great condition, too.
Yeah. I just got to clean up a little.
Okay.
And then I got a Bozo the Clown, what they call these
things? The magnetic slate
yeah.
paper saver.
So actually, somebody gave me this because I'd bought the Bozo the Clown phone.
Okay, so this is this plastic or metal?
It's plastic, yeah.
So it's a plastic, orange,
looks like
old
a wall
school
phone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's in great condition. It's got some weight to it. But it's really cool.
Oh wow! And it has Bozo's face on the rotary dial, and then it has a picture.
And you can see it goes. It just got to line up the bell on the back, and it'll make the sound.
And you can call Christian tomorrow and say, "I'm losing my mind."
Yes, and put a coin in it.
Perfect.
They got this, weird knockoff. It's like what do you call the
muscle figures?
The muscle figures, but it's not like Power Rangers, but they kind of, it looks like Power Ranger Queen.
Okay, yes.
But it's just some vintage, it's just knockoff. This was a store display.
For Alf, and it says Toys for Girls and Boys, and it has 3 pictures of Alf from '87, which is around the time that he was really popular, and there was all images of him, and really nice. Great piece there.
And then this is really cool. This is basically one of the wrestling buddies, but it's the Japanese version, like how they had they even drew they had the muscles like that. They were all I'm trying to think of what.
Yeah, I don't know how to describe it.
I don't know how to describe it either. It's almost like the knockoff Remco wrestling figures. Those guys, they had like the mask or the pointy head. It's almost like a giant version of one of those. They had mohawks. They kind of were
But the image for muscle figures, I mean, that looks very similar
like muscle,
to what that was.
And then the Remco. So that's what I've picked up today.
Okay.
So we'll see what happens.
All right. I'm hoping, as usual, to pick up some Star Wars stuff, some prototypes and production pieces. So we'll see if that happens. But fantastic. I have to tell you, I think I told you this before, but your show last year was my favorite show of the year. And it was a brand new experience. I had never been to Maryland for a toy show before. Had the best time. Met some wonderful people that I've become, good friends with over the year. And it's been really special. So I really wanted in person to thank you for that.
Appreciate that.
We've had some really special ones. Toys for the Ages, the Maryland Toy Expo, RetroCon, ZoloCon.
Yep.
I love that you're all part of this grouping of really some of the best toy shows.
And we're all within like 3 hours of each other.
And you all know one another, too.
And we all know it, yeah. And Andy's show, Toys for the Ages, is a little over a month away, a month and a half. So that'll be fun. And then speaking of production pieces, even though it's not Star Wars, I actually donated to the Four Horsemen Studios over there.
Yes.
I had 2 test shots from of 2 of their figures that I bought a long time ago. I actually donated to them to do giveaways to fans.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So
Perfect.
if you get a chance to go over there, you can kind of see it. But they're going to raffle off like $500 pieces that I just donated to them.
I love it.
So they're pre-production, test shots. They're all just solid gray. Got all the accessories. So check it out over there.
They have a hardcore following too.
Yes,
so I think that I think that will be really appreciated among their fans.
Yeah, I mean it's cool. And if you notice, we got a lot more we're getting some more girl toys every year. Which is really cool. So
and more female toy-centric booths as well too.
Because we get asked about it so much, and they do really well. I think that's there's a little bit of movement there. There's a movement.
I think the culture for toy shows has changed, where before this it was more like grown men, middle-aged
40-year-old men.
and now it's become more of a family experience.
Yes.
And so you're now catering to all ages and males and females. It's great.
Well, I agree. I think in some cases, you see the girlfriends or wives walking out with more bags than the husbands. Which is, that's cool. But they buy boy stuff too. It's kind of funny. Like, guys don't tend to buy too much girl stuff, but the girls buy girls and boys toys.
But I know a lot of guy collectors, that collect girls' toys that have things like strawberry shortcake prototypes, My Little Pony items as well too.
I'm eyeing up that Chrissy doll over there. It's in a box. You see it right there? Chrissy doll's got the box, so I've been eyeing that up. And actually, I might be getting some prototypes of those sculpts and stuff.
You are a weird human being. I don't know. No, I'm kidding. No, that's very cool. And if you can get a prototype and match it with a production piece too, that's
really cool, right? Yeah. So I'm working on that. So I'm pretty excited.
Oh, awesome. Well, I'd like to talk to you at some point later on. I don't want to take up your time now because I know you're busy, and I'm going to take a few laps around building the building, so I'm looking forward to it. But hey, again, thank you so much for making something so special too.
Love you.
I love you too. I think it's been a little while since I've been to a show, but I have to say I'm really, really excited. I feel like a child again, just in a toy store, a really big toy store, and just not knowing what I'm going to see. And sometimes when we haven't been to a toy show in a little while, it's easy to forget that feeling. And then when it hits you pretty hard. So this has been wonderful. I have to say, I saw some great carded Star Wars figures, and the prices were nice for them. looking at some of the droids and Ewoks ones, and they were in the 150 to 225 range, which I think is really fair. So I might pick up one or two if I see one in good condition, one that I need for my collection. But other than that, so far, I mean, I've gone up only one aisle, but I had to. Hi, how are you doing? So it's been really great, though. Just getting here, the first few minutes, getting to talk to Mark as well, and I really wanted to tell him how much I appreciate a show like this. It's very special, and I think even what he's doing too with the Four Horsemen and the prototypes and making that a giveaway, it's something like that not only marks the show, but it also makes it feel a little more special, a little more personal. And I think I give the vendors a lot of credit as well too, because I feel like there is this personal nature to a show like this, and it's one that was built up really from the ground up, and it over the course of a number of years, and it shows. And I think there's been a fan base that's been growing for it. You have people that are loyal like me who will keep coming back to each show, and it's a rarity. And we're fortunate here on the East Coast that we have a few like the ones that we mentioned before, and I'm happy to know that Mark and Christian are a part of that as well. So I just ran into Matt Fox. I'm happy to see him. He's got a great setup of a lot of modern Black Series figures. I think even some vintage collection figures. He was in the process of setting up. Mark is definitely right, though. I'm seeing more and more tables with toys that were really catering more toward young girls and women as well, and it's always nice to see. And I think having that variety makes the show even more desirable and more interesting. So I just came across a table that has some loose Star Wars stuff. So there's a Jabba the Hutt playset, a speeder bike, a land speeder, some of the mini rigs, the cloud car as well. Price on the cloud car is $45, and that's with both canopies and the glass inside, so that's nice. And then a few loose figures. So it's quiet here, as you can tell. I think I didn't realize that setup began at 12, so I think a lot of the heavy-duty work has been done already, and now people are just sitting around at their tables and I guess maybe looking for some buys or some sales. And I'm looking for some buys, so I'm just going to keep walking and we'll report more. Okay, so I just made my first lap through the exhibition hall, and I'm walking across the parking lot now. It's probably a little windy, and I apologize for that. Walking through to the 4-H building. I believe my friend Ryan's going to be set up there tomorrow. I have to say, the place looks great. I actually really like the idea of a 12 to 6 p.m. setup. I think that works better than 2 o'clock to 8 o'clock or 3 o'clock to 8 o'clock, whatever it was. I wish I knew that, because I would have actually come down a little earlier. I thought setup was at 3. But the past few days and the whole week has been a little crazy, and I've just been going, and then I was finishing a podcast episode, and I was figuring out what to bring for this show, and just getting ready and getting everything done at home, and I really hadn't had a chance to relax. The podcast episode that I'm working on now, that probably came out last week when you hear this, it just took a lot of time as well. And so this is the first time I can say I've truly just started to relax a little bit, and I had some time to think and to be around friends that I haven't seen in a little while. It's really nice. I was thinking about that this week. I had taken a bike ride at one point, and I was thinking about all the friends that I've met and have made through shows like this, through traveling to different states and different areas, and it's really one of the true blessings of being a collector, being interested in Star Wars items. For me right now, I have to say, This does feel like Christmas, and it's just nice to be able to go through all of the booths and to hunt a little bit. It's a little hard because people are still setting up. Some are in the very earliest stages, so I don't want to impose. But it's just nice to walk through the building and seeing it come together. It's something very special. It's quiet. Tomorrow it'll be much busier. So now I'm at the 4-H building. I'm going to walk in and take a lap around there. So I have found the other half of the dynamic duo, Christian Kuhn, who is running this amazing show. I was telling Mark that I just absolutely love this.
Thank you.
What year is this now for you guys?
This has got to be, we're going, I guess, on the end of year 7. So the first show was, I believe, in 2018. So this is we moved up here, though, we moved to the fairgrounds in 2022. So I guess we're on 4 years here. We're on our 4th year at the fairgrounds. Previous years we were down in Severna Park, Maryland. So, but we love it here, and love our fans, love the vendors. Always find some good stuff.
And I've heard that pre-sales are going very well so far and that people are really interested in coming. There's a lot of talk on the different social media channels as well, too, which I like and nice to see.
Yeah, ticket pre-sales are, we've already beaten our record for prior ticket sales, so we're thrilled about that. We've actually, I guess I can share with us, so we've streamlined our ticketing process, so it's one price whether you buy at the door or online. We have a self-service ticket option now, so you can just scan a QR code at the door, buy your tickets on your phone, come walk up and get your wristbands and walk right in. So no need to wait in line at the cash register, no need to, everything can be done in parallel now, so there's no serial queue where you're waiting and waiting. You can just
let me tell you,
get your tickets and get in.
I went to a show earlier this year, and I love the show, but my biggest complaint about it is the wait. And they moved to a new venue, and it took me an hour to get in. And I had paid for the VIP ticket, and the VIP is open for an hour and a half, and it was just an hour that was spent in line. So I really appreciate any time you do something like that.
So one thing that we do for our VIPs is that even before the doors open, we actually go outside the venue and we will start scanning VIP tickets and giving all of our VIP ticket holders wristbands so that when the doors open for VIP time, they can just walk right in. So that's one of the benefits of just getting your tickets ahead of time, because the registers don't open until 8 a.m. But if you have your tickets, we get you scanned and badged ahead of time. You can just walk right in.
Perfect.
And you can buy tickets online, MarylandToyExpo.com. You can buy them at the door at either building, so you can go to 4-H or Exhibition Hall. Your wristband's good for both buildings. And
that's a key. That's a good point too, because there are 2 buildings, but you don't have to pay to get into each one. You just pay one ticket.
Yep. Which also helps because we run ticketing. Both buildings have the same ticketing systems and capacity, so the crowd can split between the 2 buildings to get you in even faster. But when you come in, you'll see signs to say, need tickets, scan here. Just scan it with your phone, complete the checkout, you're good to go.
Oh, that's wonderful. What'd you pick up?
So, I just picked up the Lego BD-1 set. This is a retired set.
From Jedi Fallen Order.
Fallen Order,
and it's a pretty much, I don't know if it's life-size, but it's pretty big, right?
Yeah, I have one other one at home that's already built. It's about 18 inches tall.
Okay.
Yep, and it's got the stims in his head, so he opens up and there's little stim cartridges from in the game.
Oh, that's amazing.
For Cal Kestis. Yeah, it's a pretty cool set. Couldn't say no for the price because honestly, the deals are here.
Yeah. Oh, I see it. I see it already.
There are great deals here. You can definitely get things like order retired items for great prices, new stuff for great prices. And one thing I love about this show is that we have toys for everybody. It's not a vintage-only show. It's not a modern-only show. There's plenty of vintage toys. There's plenty of modern toys. There's building toys. There's traditionally girls' toys. There's a whole bunch of Gem and the Hologram stuff over in the exhibition hall. There's a bunch of Monster High stuff right behind us.
The thing I really like about it too, and I've said this in the past, but the booths are so packed with stuff. You're not going up to a table where there's 20 or 30 items. You're talking a few hundred items. And you have that chance as a collector to dig through and to hunt and to find things.
Yeah, I was just telling Mark earlier that one of the downsides of being an owner is that I really can't shop my own show.
It's impossible, yes.
Which is really a bummer because I see people walking around with stuff and I'm like, man, I would have loved to have that in my collection, but I can't get away. Yeah. So, I know it is my show, so I'm like, maybe a little bit biased, but I would say like this is a show that you just, you got to spend the whole day here. You got to go through these buildings 2 or 3 times.
Christian, this is not my show, so I can say this. Every time I've gone, so I've gone twice. I went in June and then I went in November, and I spent the entire day from opening to closing going back and forth between the buildings and just hunting and finding new stuff every time.
Yeah, it's impossible to like see it all on one pass. Yeah. You really have to go through and then take it all in and then go through again. And because you will be here a good part of the day, we do have food vendors at both buildings. So if you do need something to eat, there's food and drink vendors at both buildings. Everything from like burgers and pizzas to Italian sausages and fries, cold drinks. So you can kind of just, make a family day out of it.
And live here,
Yeah, do whatever you need to do. And plenty of free parking.
Yeah.
So I get that question a lot.
Well, I hope you're able to get some shopping done for the rest of the day and then at some point through tomorrow as well, too. I think you and Mark seem to have this running pretty smoothly now. I mean, it's your 7th year, so... Yeah,
we definitely have a system. I always forget something.
That's okay.
So, it's like, I think I have everything packed, and then I get up here and I always manage to forget something. But yeah, I mean, we do have and we're always looking to improve our processes. So, I mean, I know this might be directed more towards collectors, but a lot of collectors are also vendors. So we've moved to an entirely paperless system for vendor applications. You can renew your booths entirely on your own phone. You don't really, one of the pain points we had before with vendor renewal was there was a big line. They had to come up with their paper, right. To put them in the system. We moved to a whole new system. It's all done entirely online. You can do it on your phone. You don't even have to come see us.
Makes things easier for you then, too.
Yeah, so you can just renew and be on your way. We always offer for existing vendors, you get a discount on your booth if you renew before you leave the show.
And I think most do. So.
Yeah, so that's our gift to them.
Well, my friend, I want to thank you. I love coming here. I was saying to Mark, this was my favorite show of last year. New experience.
Well, I hope we blow it out of the water.
It sounds like it. So far, I've been walking around, and I have to say, I'm really surprised by the prices. I think that the prices are really fair for a lot of the items that I'm seeing, and I'm looking and kind of, notching a few and saying, okay, maybe I'll come back and pick that up. So it's.
I got my eye on a couple things. I just don't know if I'll be able to get back over there.
Okay, hopefully we don't overlap then.
I don't think we will for this one.
Good. Well, I hope you're able to pick that up. And really, again, thank you so much for a wonderful weekend ahead of us. And I look forward to the rest of the night and tomorrow.
Have fun. Appreciate it. And thanks for taking the time.
Okay, it's 5:30, and I'm now leaving the 4-H building, which was really nice. I got to see Clifton Boggs. I saw Warren Reberg for just very quickly, but I got to see him, which was cool. I got to talk to Clifton Boggs for a while. I forgot that Clifton comes to the show, and he's a fellow Ahsoka-holic, Clone Wars fan and collector, just an all-around really great guy. So he and I were talking when we went down to Georgia for the Rogue Fun event back in May. He and I had both stayed through Sunday. So the event ended Sunday afternoon at 3:00 after there was a group bowling activity, and then after that it was pretty much just, if you were staying, it was open for you to do whatever you wanted. And a lot of people were leaving by then. So Clifton and I stayed. It was Cinco de Mayo, so we went to a local Mexican restaurant and had some great tacos and some other items and just sat and talked for 2.5 hours. That was really one of the more special times that I can remember from Rogue Fun. And it's events like that where you're just able to connect with people from different states, different locations, and ones that you don't normally get to see. So it was nice to see Clifton again. I saw James Ford as well, too. So James runs the Cincinnati Toy Show and the Columbus Toy Show, so it was great to see him again. I think it's been a while since I've seen him. I would say probably at least maybe 2 or 3 years, so it was nice to run into him. My friend Mike just picked up a 3-pack, one of the rare space 3-packs from Ireland. Very hard to find those. This one came courtesy of D&E Collectibles and was graded, which is really nice. So he was thrilled to make that purchase. And again, very hard to find a piece like that, and to see it at a show like this is really nice. The wind's kicking up a little. The skies have gotten really gray, so it does look like it's going to storm. We have about a half hour left, so I'm just going to do a quick run through of the exhibition hall and then head back, talk to Clifton for a little bit, and then I think it's going to be an earlier night, which is totally fine. We have a really busy, big day tomorrow. It's 6 o'clock. They're closing down both buildings now. I didn't make any big purchases, but I did pick up a Star Wars book called Lost Stars by Claudia Gray. And I think it was written a few years ago, but when I've spoken to people about Star Wars novels, this book has always come up. A lot of readers have mentioned it, and they said it's pretty good, and actually they said it's fantastic. So I've been looking for a book like that. It's away from the real world and politics and all of that stuff that we deal with every day, and just something that will kind of take me into another galaxy for a little bit. So Lost Stars by Claudia Gray. I'm going to check it out. Probably going to start reading it tonight. And the vendor who I bought it from, who's incredibly nice, I told him I'd give him a little update on it tomorrow. So I'm standing directly in between the two buildings now. The exhibition hall, the 4-H building. I have to say, the time went by really quickly. But it was so nice to see everybody. There was a relaxation to this. And it's really nice to just walk through a show as it's coming together, and it really wasn't hectic. The 4-H building was hot, and the air conditioning needs to be put on tomorrow. It's the hotter of the two buildings. It's more like, I guess, a warehouse, smaller. But other than that, I mean, it was a perfect Friday, perfect setup. Right now, it's getting darker, and it's actually getting cooler too. I think it's probably in like the high 60s, low 70s. So just a really nice time with everyone on one of the last cars in the parking lot here. I think there's some still around the building, but they're closing down. I was talking to another collector, and he and I were both surprised that I would say that maybe the exhibition hall and the 4-H building were about 60% complete, or at least the tables were set. I was surprised because I was expecting there to be more vendors set up today, but I think because it did close at 6 o'clock, that a lot who might be coming from work or coming from a distance may not have been able to make it. Where you usually get in those last 2 hours, you'll get people, showing up. So it looked like the exhibition hall and the 4-H building were about maybe 50 or 60% set up. I find that very interesting, because tomorrow that means that we'll be seeing stuff that we didn't see today, and hopefully some other vendors with bringing some interesting items. Very impressed with what the vendors had. I have to say, I think the prices were really fair. Generally, when you get Star Wars items, anything that has a Star Wars logo on it tends to get a premium at a toy show, especially if it's the vintage Kenner items. And I saw a number of carded figures that were priced $400 and below. So if you wanted a 20-back Walrus Man or a 20-back Greedo, I think they were $350 and $400 each. And, and the dealer probably has some wiggle room in there as well. The Black Series and vintage collection items, especially the Black Series, we're starting to see them be heavily discounted again. A lot of them are in the $10 to $15 range, with some at $20. But so the modern stuff, I think, is back to being at discounted prices. But the Kenner stuff that I've seen here, I think the prices were all really fair. And there were a few items that I even looked at and said, for the price, it's worth picking up and adding. There was a Cloud Car Pilot, a 45 back, so that was his debut. And I'd love to pick one of those up. I've always wanted one. I've been looking for the right one, but again, when you see one, I think it was maybe $150, it's hard to pass it up at that price. There was a Clear Bubble Gamorrean Guard that was $100. And so I was very impressed with what the vendors had and also the prices. So I think tomorrow is going to be a fantastic show. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be an early day. I think setup opens at 6 a.m. and then the show runs until 5 o'clock. So I'm not sure what's happening now. I might head to dinner with a friend, or I might just head back to the hotel for an earlier night. I've been watching the Pacers OKC finals for the NBA, and it's been a pretty good series so far, so I might check out that game as well. It is now starting to rain, and I think the rain's going to come in pretty heavily in the next maybe minute or two. But just in time, it'll cool everything down a little more. Overall, just a great Friday. I wish I actually came earlier, and had been here when a lot of the vendors were setting up initially. I always like those first few hours where to watch a show come together is always fascinating. And but I'm really, really proud of Mark and Christian, and I'm glad I got a chance to talk to them today. Glad I got to see some friends I haven't seen in a while, and I'm looking forward to tomorrow. So that was Friday, and we'll see how Saturday turns out. Okay, so quick change of plans. I wasn't planning on going out to eat. As I said, I was considering going back to the hotel and getting an early night's rest, maybe watching the game, but I got a phone call from Clifton Boggs, and he and his friend Aaron were going to a place called Papa's Restaurant and Sports Bar. So we're going to try that. Hopefully we can get in. And never been here before, and just a nice opportunity to connect with Clifton again too. The last time we went out to eat, I think, was for Rogue Fun. So we'll see how it is. The restaurant was a pretty popular one, and most of the tables around us were taken. Clifton, Aaron, and I sat at a high top close to the bar, while couples and families conversed nearby. Clifton had crab cakes, Aaron chose a buffalo wrap, and I was in the mood for a mushroom Swiss burger. Over drinks and food, we spent the next 2 hours talking about various topics. For me, it was a chance to catch up in person with Clifton again, to fill in the gap since we last broke bread together. And through Clifton, I was able to get to know a new friend in Aaron. One of the topics we discussed was collecting. While Clifton and I focus more on Star Wars, Aaron collects a little bit of everything. He has an interest in a variety of popular and more obscure lines, which I saw play out in person the next day, as Aaron excitedly picked up a set of Thundar the Barbarian toys at the show. But we also talked about the state of collecting, what currently held our attention, what we wrestled with as collectors, and we shared our perspectives on the hobby. And one of the common strands within that chat was how the three of us were actively paring down our collections, removing the excess, and narrowing our focuses. These are the types of conversations that we collectors love, simply because we connect so deeply to the topics. But they're also helpful. Hearing from a friend who is dealing with the same questions and challenges as you often can spark ideas and can be the perspective you require, but from a different vantage point. But collecting was only a portion of the chat that night. It was really about getting the opportunity to hang out with an old friend from Ohio, as well as a new one from the same area. There really is nothing better in this world than connecting with people. And in the collecting community, our shared love of Star Wars and the memorabilia is often an easy catalyst to build those bonds. After saying goodnight to Clifton and Aaron, I made it back to my hotel room in time to catch 3/4 of Game 4 of the NBA Finals. With the Pacers and Thunder playing in the background, I unpacked what I needed for the rest of the evening and then prepared for the morning. My goal was to wake up at 5 a.m., shower, and check out of the room, bringing my bags and bins to the car. As I was doing some last-minute arranging before bed, I walked past the 4 bins of figures and Star Wars items I brought with me to put on Ryan's table. I realized something in that moment. While I had prayed about the trip before leaving, I hadn't prayed over what I brought. I stopped and knelt and just asked the Lord to bless the items, and that if it was His will, that He would provide buyers for the items Ryan and I had. But more importantly, that the day would be a blessing for us, and for everyone traveling to Timonium. I fell asleep quickly, somewhere during the 3rd or 4th quarter, and I was fine with not seeing the end of the game, as exciting as it was. After all, when you're attending a larger toy show, you need as much energy as possible. You want to be awake and alert, because you really want to take in every minute of it, every conversation, and every moment. Because it really is a blessing for every Star Wars fan and collector. Stay tuned for part 2 of the Maryland Toy Expo experience, where we'll spend Saturday together at the venue for the main event. See you next time on Star Wars, Prototypes, and Production.